One of the most important things to remember on your journey is just like in nature, things happen beneath the surface before you see the bloom. So just because it's not showing yet doesn't mean you're not growing yet. Hi ladies, welcome back to the Feminine Universe. I am so happy to have you here. So it is completely normal to have a moment in your journey where you start to wonder, is this even working? You've been listening for a while now, you're doing the work, you're eating better, dressing better, setting boundaries, and focusing on yourself more. But you're not seeing the big results yet, and it's starting to make you wonder, is anything even changing? Where's the crazy confidence where I don't doubt myself? Where's the special treatment? Where is the focused group of girlfriends? Where's the bigger bank account? And those are all valid questions. Honestly, you should expect results from anything you're investing your time and energy into. But one thing people often forget is that the most important shifts usually happen beneath the surface before anything becomes visible. Just like a seed breaking through the soil, something has to happen underground first. And I truly believe that happens internally for us as we go through our self-improvement journey. The roots grow first to support you and stabilize you on your journey. So just because it might not be showing yet doesn't mean you're not growing yet. So today I want to give you 4 real signs that you are leveling up, even if it's not obvious yet. If that's something you would find helpful, let's get started. Sign number 1 is that your old habits feel off. Things you used to enjoy just don't hit the same, for lack of a better term. And it's not about you acting funny or being bougie. It's about your tastes and your standards actually evolving. Think of it like this. When you were a kid, you could probably eat tons of candy without even thinking twice. But as you get older, your taste buds just change and your tolerance will change. You still might enjoy a little sweetness. I have quite the sweet tooth myself, but you just can't consume it in the same way anymore. And that's kind of what happens on your growth journey. You just don't have the same interests or the same desire for certain things anymore. Or you may not want as much of it, whether it's personal drama, social media distractions, dead-end relationships, or toxic friends and toxic cycles. They might just start to bore you or irritate you or just not have the same appeal. You might also start to feel uncomfortable in places that once felt familiar. You find yourself thinking, what's the point of this, or what purpose does this serve? It's not because you've changed overnight. It's because you're adjusting to a new standard. I want to share something with you. Your brain and your body like to be on the same page. So once your mind starts thinking something, your body is going to want to follow. That's why we hear the phrase mind over matter. So when your brain starts thinking and focusing on certain ideas like, I want more for myself, I want purpose, I want growth, I want peace, your body and spirit will start disconnecting from and even rejecting anything that doesn't align with that. That's why things you used to enjoy won't feel good anymore. You're not being weird, you're not switching up, you're leveling up. Sign number 2 is you're spending more time alone, and not in a lonely, mopey, or antisocial way, but in a focused way. It's not that you don't still enjoy spending time with family and friends. Of course we do. But you started pulling back from other things that you consider distractions. You're more interested in planning your next move instead of seeing and reacting to everyone else's moves. You're not really worried about FOMO anymore. You don't need to know all the gossip or hear every story because you're focused on writing your own story. You're spending more time alone to think, to plan, to process. You want more time to read, to work on your business, to plan your next step, to prep for your week. You're starting to actually crave peace over noise and purpose over validation. We recently talked about not proving yourself and not seeking validation, so feel free to watch that video for a refresher. But you basically get to this place where you don't need the feedback of others as much because you have a vision and that's what you're pursuing rather than worrying about what other people think. You also realize that sometimes your plans need protection and privacy, and that time alone is where clarity lives. You're observing more and you're thinking deeper because it's not always about what's said, it's also about what's not said, and you need time to reflect on that. Growth and progress require focus, and you've realized it's hard to focus when your energy is constantly being split. Overall, starting to spend time alone is a major sign of elevation because chaos hates solitude, but growth thrives in it. So if you've been pulling back a little more lately, don't ignore that. It's not isolation, it's alignment. Sign number 3 is you're thinking long term. One of the biggest shifts that happens when you commit to growth is that you stop just letting life happen. You're no longer just taking it day by day or saying, we'll see what happens. You start planning and thinking about the long-term impact of your choices, like how you spend your time, where you invest your energy, and the types of company and relationships you keep. Instead of acting on impulse in the moment, you start regularly asking yourself questions like, does this fit into my plan? Or how will this affect me later? When you could tell someone off, and Lord knows they deserve it, but you realize that doesn't reflect who you want to be and how you want to be perceived. When he is fine as heck, but the red flags make him a no-go because you prioritize your mental and emotional wellness. When you could splurge and spend, but you're prioritizing your savings goals. That's when you can see it's happening. It's similar to the mindset shift you'd have with a fitness goal. You're willing to give up certain things in the immediate in order to reach a goal that's more important to you in the long term. And it's not that you can never indulge while on that fitness journey, but you know certain things can't make up the bulk of your diet or routine. And personal growth works the same way. You realize that certain people, habits, and distractions might be fun, but they don't feed the future you're building. They can't make up the bulk of your lifestyle. And when you start making decisions not based on where you are right now, but based on where you want to be a year from now, or 5 or 10 years from now, that's a major sign you're leveling up. Because survival is reactive. We are wired to survive, but thriving is intentional. You have to make certain choices, make certain sacrifices, and take certain actions in order to thrive. And speaking of actions, the 4th sign is you're applying the lessons. For a lot of people, self-improvement content becomes a kind of escape. It feels good to hear how amazing life could be someday. It feels empowering to imagine yourself becoming that girl. And for a few minutes, it does give you that dopamine rush. It makes you feel like you've done something productive. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. We do need to hear certain things over and over before they really stick. We do need encouragement, and we need to visualize what things could be like to get inspired. But some people stay in that phase forever. They stay in collection mode, always learning, always watching, but never actually doing. So when you start shifting from just listening to actually applying, even if it's small, that's when you know change is coming. Sometimes it's obvious. Maybe you see yourself writing things down more. You're tracking your habits. You're setting reminders for things you need to do. You're taking note of what's working and what's not and changing accordingly. And other times it'll just sneak up on you, like giving advice to a friend that you know the old you would have never given. Like reflexively sticking up for yourself in a situation where you would have let that comment or quote unquote joke slide. And maybe it's not entertaining the type of man who would have made you swoon a year ago, Basically, you're at the place where you're not just saying things like, I should journal, you're actually putting pen to paper. You're not just watching a video to get inspired, you're watching it to build a plan that fits for your life. You're actively doing the work. And once you start applying, the results are not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, as long as you keep it up. So if you've noticed any of these signs in yourself, even just one, take a moment to really acknowledge that. These may not be the flashy, obvious results we always expect at first, but they're some of the clearest signs that you're changing from the inside out. Real growth starts in the quiet, in the background, and just like the strongest tree or the prettiest flower you can see today, the roots had to grow first beneath the soil before it could bloom for all to see. So give yourself some credit. It is working. You are evolving, and it's only a matter of time before it shows up in every aspect of your life. Until next time, ladies, stay feminine, stay focused, and have fun.